Most people reach their deathbed with one crushing regret about their relationships. It's not the harsh words they said or the fights they started. It's the conversations they never had because they couldn't figure out the right moment to speak up. They spent decades talking when they should have listened and staying quiet when their voice could have changed everything. I've spent years studying centenarians, and there's one pattern that shows up again and again. The people who lived the longest, healthiest lives mastered something most of us never learn: the art of perfect timing in communication. They knew exactly when to speak and when to shut up. Today, I'm sharing their simple framework that eliminates awkward conversations, prevents relationship disasters, and makes people actually want to hear what you have to say. We'll cover 3 timing principles that separate wise communicators from everyone else. Here's what I noticed about every centenarian I interviewed. They pause before they respond to anything emotional. Not a quick hesitation, but a deliberate 3-second silence. Most people think silence is awkward, so they fill every gap with words. This backfires in relationship and destroys your credibility at work. When someone says something that triggers you, your brain wants to react immediately. That's exactly when you need to pause. The 3-second rule gives your emotional brain time to calm down, and your logical brain time to take control. It's the difference between reactive speaking and intentional communication. I met a 102-year-old woman named Margaret who told me this rule saved her 60-year marriage. Her husband used to come home stressed from work and take it out on her. Instead of fighting back immediately, she started using the 3-second pause. She'd count to 3, then respond to what he actually needed. Instead of what he said, the argument stopped because she stopped feeding the emotional fire. Think about the last argument you had. I bet it escalated because both people kept talking without thinking. Every word made it worse. Strategic silence breaks that cycle. When you pause, the other person often realizes how they sound and adjust their tone. You become the calm person in the room, and calm people have more influence. Here's when silence becomes your superpower. In an argument, let the other person finish completely before you respond. They'll feel heard, and you'll understand what you're actually dealing with. In negotiations, whoever speaks first after stating their position usually loses. In first impressions, listening more than you talk makes people think you're incredibly smart and interesting. But here's the tricky part: practicing strategic silence without seeming disengaged or rude. The key is active body language. Lean in slightly, make eye contact, and nod when appropriate. Your silence should feel attentive, not dismissive. When you do speak, start with something that shows you were listening. I hear you saying, or help me understand. The centenarians taught me that most conversations don't need your immediate input. Your first instinct is usually wrong anyway, because it's based on emotion, not wisdom. The 3-second pause filters out reactive responses and lets your best thinking emerge. Most people are so busy planning what to say next that they miss what's actually happening in the conversation. Strategic silence forces you to be present. You start noticing things you never saw before. The real emotion behind someone's words. The moment when they need support instead of solutions. The exact second when your voice would help versus hurt. This isn't about becoming passive or letting people walk over you. It's about choosing your moments with precision. When you speak less frequently, people listen more carefully. Your words carry more weight because they're not competing with constant chatter. Start practicing this today. In your next conversation, count to 3 before responding to anything emotional. Watch how it changes the entire dynamic. The person feels more heard, you feel more in control, and the conversation actually goes somewhere productive. Instead of spinning in circles, the centenarians I studied develop something most people never learn: the ability to read a room's emotional temperature before opening their mouth. They can sense within seconds whether someone needs to be heard, needs advice, or just needs space. This skill prevents most communication disasters before they happen. Here's what they look for first: body language and energy cues. When someone's shoulders are tense and they're avoiding eye contact, they're not ready for your opinion. They need to feel safe first. When someone is leaning forward and making direct eye contact, they're engaged and open to dialogue. When someone keeps checking their phone or looking around the room, your timing is off, no matter how important your message is. The biggest mistake people make is treating every conversation the same way. They use the same tone and approach whether someone just got fired or just got promoted. Centenarians adjust their communication style based on what they observe, not what they want to say. I learned this from a 98-year-old retired teacher named Frank. He told me about watching his adult children during family dinners. When his daughter came in, stressed from work, he could tell by how she set down her purse whether she needed to vent or needed distraction. When his son started talking faster than usual, Frank knew he was anxious about something and needed reassurance, not questions. This is why timing beats content every single time. The exact same words said at different moments create completely opposite results. You should try a different approach can be helpful advice when someone is calm and open, or crushing criticism when they're already feeling defeated. The centenarians learned to wait for the right emotional moment, even if it meant having the conversation days later. Here's the emotional temperature check that prevents disasters. Before you speak, ask yourself 3 questions. Is this person in a state to receive what I want to say? Will my words help them or help me? Can this wait until they're in a better headspace? If you're honest with these questions, you'll avoid most communication mistakes. The key is recognizing when your voice will add value versus when it will create problems. If someone is already overwhelmed, adding your perspective usually makes things worse. If someone is celebrating a win, questioning their methods kills their joy. If someone is grieving, trying to fix their problem misses what they actually need. Let me give you some practice scenarios. At family dinners, when someone brings up a controversial topic and the room gets tense, don't jump in with your opinion. Watch the faces around the table first. Who looks uncomfortable? Who's getting defensive? Your job is to lower the temperature, not prove you're right. Sometimes a simple subject change saves the entire evening. In work meetings, when your boss looks frustrated and starts criticizing a project, that's not the moment to defend your team or offer solutions. They need to be heard first. Let them finish completely. Acknowledge their concerns. Then ask when would be a good time to discuss next steps. You'll be amazed how this changes their entire attitude toward you. During difficult conversations, when someone says something that hurts your feelings, your instinct is to defend yourself immediately. But if their voice is shaking or they're clearly emotional, they're not attacking you. They're struggling with something deeper. Address their emotional state first, then deal with the content later. The centenarians taught me that most people miss these signals because they're too focused on what they want to say. They're planning their response instead of observing what's actually happening. When you start reading the room first, you realize that half the things you were about to say would have made the situation worse. Now, here's the other side of the equation. Knowing when staying silent becomes harmful, and you absolutely must speak up. The centenarians learn that some moments can't wait, and recognizing them quickly becomes a matter of integrity and courage. The first signal is when someone needs your truth, even if it's uncomfortable. This usually happens when someone is about to make a decision that will hurt them, and you're the only one who can see it clearly. Maybe your friend is about to marry someone who treats them poorly, or your colleague is about to take a job that's clearly wrong for them. Your silence isn't kindness here. It's cowardice. But here's the centenarian approach to giving advice. Ask permission first, then deliver with precision. Can I share something I'm noticing? Or would you be open to a different perspective? This simple question changes everything. People are 10 times more likely to actually hear you when they've agreed to listen. When you do speak up, be specific and focus on impact, not judgment. Instead of "that person is bad for you," try "I've noticed you seem stressed and unhappy when you're around them." Instead of "that's a terrible idea," try "here's what I'm concerned might happen." You're giving them information to make their own decision, not telling them what to do. The second critical moment is when someone needs you to speak for them because they can't speak for themselves. This happens more than you think. When someone is being treated unfairly in a meeting, but they're too junior to push back. When a friend is being gossiped about, and they're not there to defend themselves. When you witness any form of discrimination or bullying. Here's the courage framework the centenarians use. If your silence allows harm to continue, you speak up. Period. It doesn't matter if it's awkward or if people won't like you. Your voice becomes their shield when they can't protect themselves. The final moment when your voice matters most is in conversations about values and boundaries. When someone crosses a line with you or someone you care about, silence sends the message that the behavior is acceptable. You don't have to be aggressive, but you do have to be clear. The balance is this: speak up when it serves others. Stay quiet when it only serves your ego. Most of our urges to talk come from wanting to be right, look smart, or feel important. But the moments when your voice truly matters are about protecting, supporting, or guiding someone else. The simple truth is this: most regrets come from saying too much, not too little. Start practicing the 3-second pause today and watch your relationships transform. If you want more wisdom from the world's oldest people, subscribe for next week's video.